Hello, Geometry Lab students. This is our first online lesson for lab class. This is take 3 for me, so hopefully take 3 goes better than take 1 and take 2. Anyways, so today I'm just going to review the properties of parallelograms with you guys because it will be very helpful today when we are, or today or tomorrow, whenever you have a regular geometry class. When we're learning about rectangles, rhombuses, and squares. So, and I know it's been a while since we've looked at this stuff. So we're going to kind of go over the notes here. I will upload this video and a paper copy or a Google copy or whatever, so you can reference this at any time, the notes that I take here, to our Google Classroom, and then you'll practice these properties on IXL. All right, so here we go. First thing here, first property is that opposite sides are parallel. So what that means is that we can mark that this side is parallel to this side. And then we would also know that the other sides are parallel as well. So we can mark the parallel marks on those two sides. All right, and when we see the word parallel or hear the word parallel, right? So this is an important word right here. What we should be thinking is our F's, Z's, and C's that we learned about a while ago. So when I draw in a diagonal of a parallelogram, sorry for the wobbliness, so when I draw that in, when the lines are parallel, then I can make my Z angles. And we know and remember that when we have lines parallel and they make a Z, right, they are congruent. All right. So if this angle up here is 50 degrees, then this one would be 50 degrees. Okay. All right. Now, today in class, we're going to learn about rectangles and rhombuses and squares. So if we put that into context with a rectangle and a square on these two, so if we have our diagonals drawn in, I'm just going to draw it this way. Right. Then I could make my Z. So this angle would be equal to this angle. Okay. And same thing on a square. Right. So if I have them drawn in, let's see, I'm going to draw it this way. Okay. We could make the Z, because both sets of lines are parallel, we could make our Z also go this way. So we could have our sideways Z. So this angle would be equal to this angle. Okay. So hopefully you are remembering our Z angles. And again, we can do that anytime we have opposite sides parallel. All right. So moving on to, there we go. Z. There we go. Okay, so the next property is opposite sides are congruent. All right. Okay, so what that means is that I could mark this side congruent to this side and this side congruent to this side. All right, so we know that the two top segments and the two side segments are going to be congruent. Well, again, how does that relate to our rectangles and our squares? Well, if I know that this side up here is 5x and this side down here is 20, okay, well then I would know that those two things are congruent, right? So then I would write an algebra problem and say that 5x is equal to 20. And then therefore x is equal to 4. Okay. Opposite sides are congruent. Same thing with a square. right? So if I know this side is 3y plus 4, and this side over here is 2x, well, I know those are equal, but can I solve that? And can I solve 3y plus 4 is equal to 2x? No, I can't. So how is this going to work? Well, I would have to know something about maybe the other sides. So maybe this side is 12. Okay, well, if that side is 12 and it's a square, hopefully, and we're going to talk about this in class today, but hopefully then you know that all of the sides are 12. So then this opposite side would be 12. Okay, and then we would know that this one over here would be 12. So then that would make the x be a 6. And then this would be a 12. So then we would have to do our algebra, and I made it a bad one so that it would not work out to be a nice whole number. So anyways, so hopefully that makes sense. So opposite sides are congruent. You just put the sides equal to each other. All right. The third one, opposite angles of a parallelogram are congruent. So if I know that this angle down here is 60 degrees, then this one up here is 60 degrees. Okay. So obviously in rectangles, again, this is a property that we'll learn about in class, but hopefully you guys already remember it from previous school years, that in a rectangle that this angle would be 90. So then obviously the angle opposite that would also be 90 over here. Okay. All right, and same thing would hold true for the other corners of a rectangle. If that's 90, yep, the opposite angle is congruent, and that is also 90. Okay. Now rhombuses, some of you might not be familiar with rhombuses. I know when my kids watch, or used to watch, they're a little bit older now, but they used to watch this, now I can't think of what it's called. It's like a geometry little cartoon. I don't know if any of you have little brothers or sisters or cousins or something that watches it, like Geometry Dash, or maybe that, maybe I'll think of it before the end of this video. But anyways, they call them diamonds. Sure, it's a rhombus. So I always, anytime it came on my kids' TV show, I would correct it and I'd say, that's a rhombus. And they'd be like, no, it's a diamond. And I'd say, it's a rhombus. So because rhombuses are also parallelograms, then obviously their opposite angles are going to be congruent too. So like if this angle here is 40 degrees, then this one over here would be 40 degrees. All right. So anytime we have rhombuses or rectangles, they are parallelograms. So all of these 5 properties that we are going over today is also true about them. All right. Consecutive angles are supplementary. Oops. Okay. So what that means is, remember consecutive, we said that could also mean angles next to each other. So next to each other. All right. So like in this one, if this guy's 100 degrees, right, the ones next to it have to be supplementary or adding up to 180. So this one right here would have to be 80, so that those would add up to 180. Or this one would also be next to the 100, so those two would also have to add up to 100. And again, the reason kind of stems back to property number 1, which is opposite sides in a parallelogram are parallel, because then we can make our C angles, right? So there's a C that way, and then we would also have our C going this way. Right? Okay, so if we look at it in terms of a square, right? Well, we know that this angle is 90, so the angle next to it should have to be, or consecutive to it, should have to add up to 180. So 90 and 90, yep. And we know, because we know in a square that all of those should be 90, so that makes sense. And then here's our C. Okay. So on the rhombus, what did I use? I think I used 40 on the last page. So if this is 40, then the angle next to it should have to add up to 180 with that 40. So if that's 40, this one right here would be 140, right? Because they have to add up to 180. And again, they make a C because those are, this side and this side are parallel to each other. So our C angles would work. Okay. And then again, if we take the 40 that I originally wrote in, this angle also is next to that angle. So that should also add up to 180 as well. And we can go ahead and make my C going this way. Okay. All right. So please make sure you're remembering that, because on your homework that you're going to get in geometry class, I know on rhombuses, sometimes kids forget about this property. So again, remember angles next to each other add up to 180. All right, and our last property, diagonals are bisected. So let's see, maybe I'll try and draw in a nice straight diagonal for you guys. All right, so here's one diagonal, here's the other diagonal. All right, so when I drew in that second diagonal, or I'll draw it in again, when I'm drawing this in, it is cutting the very first diagonal I drew in half. All right, so that means that this piece would equal this piece. Okay, now if you look at the lengths of those diagonals that I drew, okay, they are different. The very first one I drew is definitely longer than that second one I drew. So these pieces here are going to be different, but they are going to be equal to each other. Like that. Okay. So when I go ahead to draw in my diagonals on my rectangle, all right, think about how long that guy is. So maybe 1.5 inches or so, right? And if I go to draw in this one, maybe about 1.5 inches or so. So that might be one of the properties that we learn about rectangles, is that they're congruent angles. So when we go ahead and draw in the diagonals are bisected on that, right? So this piece would be equal to this piece. Okay. If these guys are equal in length, the diagonals, then this piece would still just have a 1 mark and this would have a 1 mark, meaning that all 4 of those pieces are going to be the same length. So like if, I don't know, what should we call if this is a 2, then this would be a 2, and this would be a 2, and this would be a 2. Which then means that, and I'm going to talk to you guys about this in the lesson today as well, so hopefully going over it a few times will help you. Which then is going to mean that we're going to have an isosceles triangle right here. So if both of those two top sides are 2, then we're going to have isosceles triangles. So I'm going to just write that here. So that is going to be super important when we're trying to find the angles inside of a rectangle. Okay. All right. And same thing for a rhombus. So let's draw in the diagonals on a rhombus and then we'll be done here. Okay. All right. So think about how long that diagonal is, maybe about 1 inch. And is this diagonal the same length or is that longer? I would say that's longer. All right, so when I'm marking these, this piece will be equal to this piece. Okay, and this piece will be different. And it will be equal to this one. So when you're doing your homework for geometry class, you're going to have questions that, you know, maybe say that the entire diagonal is 10. So then how much would each part be? Well, then this part would be 5, and this would be 5, right? Okay. Or it might be some algebra problems too, you know.